All right, welcome back, Snetterton 200, not the 300, not the 100, it is the 200. The iRacing stock setup, I believe, is sort of maybe more oriented towards the 300. So yeah, maybe you might owe me one here because the 200 is a different beast. It's the same track, but it is switched up a little, and it does make a difference. Excuse the graphics. I've got Santa brought me a new monitor, and recording in 16 by 9 uh, messes up with the visuals a little bit. So uh, just excuse that. So ride height is 14 mils. There are some curbs here that are disruptive. You're going over some curbs. Um, there are some of those sleepy policemen, real fat sausage curbs. Doesn't matter what your ride height is. If you hit those, you are going to die. So just to make the other curbs that you can go over a little more compliant, the ride height is up, minus 14 in the front. Damper compression. This is probably one of the most finicky setups I think I've ever done. This track really does not like, it's just very fussy. So damper compression is 21. What's really important here is the front and rear uh, weight transfer of the car. It is very easy to spin up the back tires here, and it's also very easy to lock up the brakes. And so the damper compression 21, this is pretty important. And also the rear compression, we'll talk about that in a second. It is important as well. So this is a really fussy track. Brake bias 58.5 for me. For you, that might be a different number. But again, uh, very easy to lock up here. And that weight transfer from front to back is very important. So whatever you normally use, you're definitely going to want to try it a little bit higher than what you normally use. Percent, maybe 1.5% higher than what you normally do. Spring rates, soft as they go, front and back, grip, 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 a little more grip. Yeah, this track is very slick, especially on cold tires. Now, most of these corners are off camber, and so the setup reflects that. It is very low camber. 0.9 on the left, and if you know my channel, I mess around with the cambers. 0.8 on the right. If you want to keep them the same, just go with 0.9 on both sides. Toe in, very important, and the garage does not like this at all. This is a very hard setup to get organized. Hopefully, Mark Jeffrey, Jean Paul, I think, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, has been posting the setup file on the iRacing forum. That is definitely the easiest way to get this setup done, because with the ride heights, the toe ins, the cambers, this took me actually quite a while to get everything I wanted the way I wanted it. So 1.5 toe in. You need a lot of turn in here, surprisingly. You need a very sharp front end to get through some of these corners. And ride height in the rear, like I said, as low as it goes. Camber, again, very low camber, 0.7 on the left, 0.6 on the right. Probably go with the higher value if you want to keep them balanced. And toe in the rear. The rear tires do heat up a bit here. There's a lot of stress on those back tires, so the toe in is turned down a bit just to keep those temps a little bit more balanced. You could try and increase that a little bit. It would help with braking efficiency, but I found the 0.2 works pretty good. Now, in the rear, ride height is minus 12, so it is 2 millimeters higher than the front. That is to increase the rake, that is to help the car rotate. And yeah, just again with that weight transfer, I find this works a bit better. And again, um, this is a bit fussy. This track, it makes a big difference. I had it at minus 13, and it made quite a difference going to minus 12. If you find the car is spinning too much, though you could make it just 1 millimeter less than the front, it will keep the back end more stable, but you're not going to go as fast. ARB is 20, and that sounds really high, and it is really high. Again, it's a very deceptive track. The corners, there's not very many tight corners, but you sure do need to get the rotation in the car to get around this track, especially through these high speed corners. It is really easy to understeer, push wide, and so you need that ARB cranked up. Cold tires on this track, it is a totally different thing from your first 5 laps to your last 5 laps. Don't get too frustrated. The early laps are going to be a fair bit slower than your last laps. That is the way it goes. Damper compression now. This one again, very important. So it's just one click down from a 6. Now it's a 5. But boy, it makes a big difference in that weight transfer. Coming out of the tighter corners, it is so easy to spin the tires here. And so having that damper compression down 1 notch really helps get the tires to grip up and not spin up as easy. So very important to have that. Fuel levels 13 liters. That's probably going to do it for me. But if you are heavier on the fuel usage, 14 is probably safer. And gear stack is tall. Standard is not going to do it in these big straights, especially with a draft. You're going to need tall. If you are one of the faithful, if you're using a stick, you might actually want to have very tall. Just for shifting through some of these tighter sections. It is very busy. You can certainly do it with paddles, but with a stick it is a little bit trickier. You could hold it in, instead of shifting down to first gear, you could probably take a few corners in second, or vice versa. Instead of being in fourth, you could be in third and then shift down into first. So very tall might be better oriented for those of you using a stick. So we will get into the guide. Track is 20 degrees, usage is 30%, and we'll go through the lap here in slow-mo and then run it out at full speed as usual. So in fourth gear, of course, this is a big passing opportunity. However, if you are on the outside, you are probably going to die. Even if the guy on the inside is a really good driver, it's very hard not to exit wide here. So just be aware of that. The outside is very, very dangerous. So coming up to the one board, between the 2 and the 1 board, there's not really a great marker. It's just going to take a little practice there. But between the 2 and the 1, good blast of brakes shifting down into third gear. It is important just to load up that front end, get the turn in. You do not want to run wide here. This is very deadly. If you run wide, you will lose all the traction, and you will get onto the grass, and it's a nightmare. So get on the curbs, and then picking up the throttle. It's important to pick up that throttle, keep the back end compliant, that weight shift, and then holding it tight and getting onto this very bumpy curve. That's why the ride height is where it is at. And then just unwinding the wheel, again, full throttle. Cold tires, a little bit more caution through there, not quite as aggressive, because it's very easy to slide onto this grass. If someone in front of you does slide onto this grass, watch out. It is very easy to spin and come across the track, so watch out for that. Again, this is going to be another big passing opportunity. So I missed it there, I think. So looking for the orange marker here on the barrier. Once you're alongside it or just past it, getting hard on the brakes, shifting down into first gear. You can come in here deeper, but you will be compromised on exit. So very hard on the brakes, down into first. And it's very important. This corner is so easy to lose it. You must be coming off the throttle as you turn the wheel. If you are heavy on the brakes, you are going to spin out. So it's important to release those brakes as you turn in, getting really uptight against that sausage curb, and then picking up the throttle nice and early. This is the huge straight, so you have to get that throttle up early, and you have to cut this corner. Keep your right hand tire inside the track and you won't get an X, And on cold tires, and if you cut this a little too much, you have to watch out for wheel spin here. That grass is extra slick, so watch out for the wheel spin there, especially on cold tires. It's easy to get caught up a little bit spinning the tires up there. And then just unwinding the wheel and then working your way up through the gears. This is the most deadly X on the track. If you barely even touch the grass past this curb, you get an X. In a race, not a big deal, but watch out for your quali laps. That one is going to catch you. Big passing opportunity here, obviously. Lots of draft, lots of battling, lots of weaving. Watch out for all that good stuff. So, in fourth gear, looking for the one board. Just before the one board, getting on the brakes pretty hard down into third gear. Again, you can come in here hotter, but it is going to compromise you on exit. And then releasing the brakes as you turn in, very easy to spin it here. So watch out for that, especially cold tires. Turning in and aiming for these posts. I could have cut this corner even a little more. I did come in here maybe a little wide. So third gear, and then at this last post, shifting down again, hard on the brakes, shifting down into first gear, and again, watch out, very easy to spin here, very easy to lose it. Right up against this sausage curb, picking up the throttle nice and early. Do not get on that sausage curb. It is deadly. And remember, a number of these corners, a lot of these corners, the track is not the limit of the red and white curb. It plays with my brain that I see this and I think that's the end of the track. It is not. The grasscrete here you can totally get on, and you have to use it. Use all of the track. It's going to get you going faster. And then just make sure you are back on track before the grasscrete ends. And then just working up into third. This one's kind of tricky. There's a kink in the track depending on what you're looking at, monitor or VR. There's a little kink here, so just before the end of the sand, turn in. You want to turn in here a little earlier than you think. It's really important to get into the camber of this corner. This is one of the few positive cambered corners, and get onto that curb. Just a little lift in third, a bigger lift on cold tires because it is easy to run wide out here. And again, yeah, just don't focus on the red and white curb. That is not the end of the track. There is grasscrete there to get onto. Actually, I guess we'll just keep going here. So in third gear, holding it in third gear, and then again, not a great marker here, but there's a bit of a kink in the track, and turning in early again, earlier than you think. Full throttle in third. I like holding it in third. You could go up into fourth for a short time. If you're drafting, that might be the faster way, but I like holding it in third. And then just managing the throttle. You do not want to push wide. The more left you are, the less grip you're going to have, and you are going to run wide, and it's going to cost you a lot of time through here. So again, just managing the throttle, coming out just a little bit wide, getting the car turned back in a bit here, and then picking up the throttle again. And what you're looking for is the third post here, still in third gear, and getting off the throttle, and at this third post, shifting down into second. Again, just managing the throttle so you're not sliding wide. It is important to keep to the very right here, and then between the two post and the one post, shifting down into first, pretty good blast of brakes, and then turning in at the post or even just past the post. This corner in my eyes is very deceptive. It looks like you should turn in earlier, but you have to turn in late on this one. If you turn in too early, this sausage curb is going to get you. If you go over it, you are going to have a bad day. In order to avoid going over it, you are going to have to slow down and saw on the wheel to make sure you're going around it rather than over it, and you're going to lose actually a tremendous amount of time. So it is a very late turn in here. Do not turn in too early. You can turn in much later, and you can carry much more speed than you think. Getting right up tight against it, picking up the throttle, and again, this red and white curb is not the end of the track. This one's really important to use all of the track on exit. The grasscrete here, you can go over the white line, get on the grasscrete. It is all good. Watch out, your tail can, your back end can get a little loose here. If you came in a little hot, it will scrub a little speed, but it's not the end of the world. And then just try and keep it as straight as possible, and getting on the throttle nice and early, because this is another big straight leading into number 1. Just a tight line to the right there. Again, if you're going defensive, you may want to stay on the right. And that is a 1:15.1. And yeah, optimum I did technically 1:14. Definitely with a draft, 1:14s are probably going to be on the menu. So that is it. We'll run this out at full speed. Good luck out there. This is a fun track, but the crashes can be certainly a lot of them in the past. In the Skippy races, boy, this is a dangerous track. All right, we'll see you next time.